Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yo, I had to come back and continue. I wasn't able to finish what I had to say, but I know it's late. A lot of people are sleeping and things like that. However, I believe that while this topic is running through my head, it's the best time to go ahead and articulate the thought. Now, I've been combing through comments, reading, and I'm extremely taken aback because what I'm seeing right now in the political world is something that we define as whataboutism. Whataboutism does not have I would say, a static definition, but whataboutism is the philosophy that if one is being held accountable, how can we deflect? And now they're all at Vibes. Oh yeah, I was at Vibes, man. But shout out the Vibes, man. It was good, man. I'm glad to see they they back open like word, because at the end of the day, and the government ain't doing nothing for them, so they might as well open their business up. But so let's talk about whataboutism, right? Whataboutism is the inability to hold our public officials accountable. I want to know, why are the Republicans so scared of Trump? I mean, it's almost like, and I'm gonna get on the Democrats too, because the Democrats act like they are just scared of Biden. They're scared of the DNC. I mean, we have elevated these politicians to the level of God, where we don't hold them accountable. I think we forget that they are beholden to the people. They're supposed to be beholden to us. We're supposed to be able to, talk to, their representatives and people in government and express ourselves. We're not supposed to be so afraid of backlash that we can't have a decent conversation about what we feel needs to be done or needs to be corrected in our government. It's almost like our government has become filled with tyranny. Anytime we say that we are a democracy, in a democracy, the people are supposed to have control over the outcomes of not only their lives, but of the government. In a democracy, it's supposed to be us who are policing and have transparency and oversight over bills and laws that are being made. And we're supposed to have visibility into the world that creates conditions that we have to live under in our communities. That is what a democracy is supposed to look like. However, our world has now become a dictatorship. Literally, the reason why is the people have become so, we've become basically cheerleaders in a football game or basketball. We've been relegated to cheerleaders, right? Because if Biden right now is not okay, you have a group of people that are saying, okay, Puffy, let's look at Puffy and others, for example, who came out and they said, Joe Biden, guess what? We need to be able to have a system in place to where we can ask you about issues in the black community. Now, just because someone wants to understand how we can develop the black community, that doesn't make you a racist. That doesn't mean that you're playing identity politics. Each particular area has its own problems, they have its own dynamics, it has its own culture. So really, you can't really have a one size fits all solution. A lot of times each community is peculiar in its own way, and a lot of communities have troubles and problems that other communities might not have. So you have to be able to go in and analyze each community and talk to the people that represent the community and see what their needs are and provide them with the resources and the adequate feedback that they need to be able to correct the problem. That is the essence of government. That is the job of politicians. But right now, what's happening is that anytime someone comes and says, okay, let's put a plan in front of Biden and let's let him talk to us about what he's going to do. The first thing people say, you know what? No. Anything is better than Trump. Anything is better than Trump. You can't say that. If somebody is there trying to get Biden to address the issues in the community, why are you going to give them hardship and pushback because they're trying to advocate on behalf of the community? But you're just so in worship mode and panic mode that you would act outside of your best interest when somebody's trying to enunciate a problem in the community, and you're going and bashing them and saying, you know what, Puffy, not now, Puffy, not now. Right now, we're in panic mode, anything but Trump. That's not a good philosophy to have. That is not a good understanding to have. And the same thing in the world of Trump. You know, the world of Trump has been flooded with people who are just mere cheerleaders. I mean, they're just cheerleaders. If you ask, not all Trump supporters, but if you ask, peace, brothers, if you ask a Trump supporter, let's talk about some of the issues that affect the Latino community. They don't know. Second Amendment, gun rights, abortion, Democrats are evil. They're on the slave plantation. See, every side has now adopted generic talking points. And these generic talking points are being used in lieu of talking points that are actually geared towards the particular wants, needs, and interests of that community. So if I go and I ask a Democrat, what is it that the community actually needs? They're just going to say, you know what, right now, anything but Trump. Right now, we just got to get Trump out of office. I don't care what happens, anything but Trump. That's the talking point that they've adopted. So they don't really have an agenda, a plan. They don't have something that's specific and tangible and measurable. They don't have any type of goal that is that they can actually measure the results. It's anything but Trump. It's panic mode. And what happens is when you stay in panic mode like that, you're unable to think for yourself. So what ends up happening is that you settle for less in hopes that what you're doing is going to pan out. I'm going to tell you like this. I talked to a never Trumper the other day, and there's a lot of never Trumpers in the Republican Party. There's people in the Republican Party who say, you know what, I will never vote for Trump. A never Trumper, I'm not going to say his name, but he's on my friends list. He inboxed me. He said, man, let me give you a number. We want to talk. So me and him were talking. And he said, you know what? The Democrats are making the same mistake that the Republicans made with Obama in 2016. They were to the point to where they said, you know what? Anything but Obama. Like, we're glad he's gone. Anything but we're so desperate that we will vote for anybody but, an Obamaite. Like, and then he said, guess what they ended up with? They ended up with Donald Trump because they felt they were so much in panic mode that they would vote for anything that was just the total opposite of Obama. That's what he articulated to me. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, that's up to you. I don't know. That's just what he was telling me. The never Trumpers are thinking in their head. They're saying that the Democrats are following that same philosophy that got Trump in office. I say that again. The never Trumpers are saying that they had that same mentality that the Democrats had, that anything is better than what we have now. And they ended up getting stuck with Trump, and they're like, you know what? That we messed up. So what they're basically saying is that, you don't want to go down that path saying anything is better than what you have now. That's why one thing that I did applaud Biden for is Biden went on the Breakfast Club. Now, some people said that they had to really like get on him to go. He didn't do it voluntarily, but he went. And I like what Charlemagne the God did, and you know, somebody can follow along. I like what Charlemagne the God did because he didn't allow Biden to deflect on Trump. Even after Biden made that statement where he said, you know, if you have an issue between who you're going to vote for, me or Trump, you're not black. Look at Charlemagne's response, and I love his response. His response was, this isn't about Trump. This is about what I want for my community. Right? That's the wonderful mentality that we're supposed to have. What we're supposed to do is we supposed to weed out all of that, blame, and weed out all of the finger pointing and say, no, 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 no. This isn't about Trump. This is about what we want to secure for our communities. Don't come to me and tell me that, okay, at least I'm better than Trump. No, we want to know specifically what plan of action do you have that we can utilize? What are you going to back specifically to ensure that our communities are not left out? I love what Charlemagne the God did. He did something that was insightful and thoughtful. He held Biden accountable. He got on by he didn't let him escape. It seemed like there were times Biden got kind of testy. He seemed very, pompous. And I think he talked himself in a hole because Charlemagne kept probing him and saying, hey, nah, that's not good enough. Let's talk about the crime bill. Let's talk about mass incarceration. Didn't you say that, didn't this happen because of a result of your policies? What type of, how do you identify with problems in our community? He really got in and drilled Biden about how he was going to help our community. That is how we have to hold both sides accountable. Black Republicans, I'm going to get on you. Black Republicans, we cannot afford to just be MAGA hat wearers running around screaming MAGA on TV and not having any substance to our conversations. When we get around Trump, we just can't, worship him and say, man, Trump, man, you like the most pro-black president ever in the world, Yeah, man, we can't get if Shakim, if I ever got into a room with Donald Trump, best believe Shakim is going to have a list of questions, a list of ideas, a list of solutions, something that I can say or ask him, are you willing to get behind this if we can get this passed or introduced? I'm not going to go in front of Trump and say, Trump, bro, you the first black president in the United States. I'm not going to say that. I'm not. Now I say that if he talking right, if he say, man, listen, Shakim, this is what we're gonna do to help economic growth in the communities, and we, gonna do this for education, and we're gonna create all these opportunities. We're gonna make sure, housing, no overdevelopment in areas that drive up rental prices. I'm gonna make sure we have the controls in place to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. If he start talking all that and is willing to back that, okay, I still won't say it, but shit, I might be joking around and say it, you know what I'm saying? But everybody will know it's a joke, right? I'm not gonna get up there and sincerely say everybody gonna know that I was being sarcastic. But the thing is, when we get in these spaces to where we have access to these politicians, we have to make sure that it's effective. We have to make sure that it's well thought out, and we have to make sure it's more than just a cheerleading session. We don't have time to be political cheerleaders for politicians who are posing as celebrities. We can't. And I'm not just picking on Trump, because I feel personally that Trump is better than Biden. I believe that Trump's policies would help us more in generating economic growth and development. I feel that Trump's policies with the economy would be able to do more good than what Biden would put on the table. That's just me. That's why right now I give Trump the edge. But at the end of the day, just because I said that I would support Trump, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to hold him accountable. If I'm saying that I support you, then that means there's an expectation that I've set for myself, that if you break that expectation at any time, I'm going to hold you accountable. When I say that I'm going to support somebody, my support doesn't stop at the point where I'm, cheering for you. My support is going to actually be mixed in with accountability. So when we start talking about Shakim supports this particular person, my expectation needs to be met, or I'm going to voice my opinion. And I think that's where the people actually have gone wrong, because our support does not include accountability. We're supporting people and we're scared to hold them accountable because possibly a fad, possibly, we're scared of, backlash from family members or friends for some reason. I'm really not sure, but where Juice Barksdale said, are we talking about Obama being on a monitor? Let me address that. Let me address that real quick. In my opinion, the quickest way, or one of the quickest ways for Trump to lose the presidency is start focusing on Obama. He's not running against Obama. Obama, Obama's done. Obama's good. Obama home. Obama's chilling. If the Trump campaign, or if Donald Trump starts hammering away on Barack Obama, tell me, how is that going to encourage swing voters to vote for him? How does getting putting his energy and efforts in a scandal, tell me, how is that going to translate into votes? Your base is already fired up. When you start talking about strategy, the strategy is supposed to be centered around either A, increasing voter turnout, or B, changing the mind of people who are wavering in thought. So you're going to get more bang out of your buck in trying to, at this point for Trump, he's going to get more bang for his buck in getting the people who are wavering back and forth than trying to get more of his base to turn out. He has a good base voter turnout, so he's not doing bad on that. What he needs to do now is think about, how can I get those who are on the threshold one way or another? And focusing on Obama is not going to give him the traction that he needs. He should be focused on Biden, if anything. But talking about locking Obama up, that ain't gonna do you no good, because Obama's not president. So you're putting your energy and your resources into something that is frivolous. And I don't know if his aides have told them that, but I would tell him, if him and I were cool and we talk, I pick up the phone and I say, man, you're gonna have to be more solution oriented versus trying to get Obama in a scandal. Quality jobs, I don't see it in the black community. Touting the low employment rates is misleading. When has it not gone down since the last administration? So this is my thing. I don't believe that the low unemployment rates have been misleading. Me personally, from being at my job and being able, and having, competition especially in the city of North Charleston. A lot of jobs were created. I mean, they're losing now, but a lot of jobs were created in the city. Now, I'm not the one who's gonna say, well, Obama didn't do it; it was all Trump, right? I believe that their policies, because you can't deny that Obama took us out of one of the worst recessions that we've ever seen. You can't deny that. So I don't know why, if I don't know why some Trump supporters will sit there and argue with you. No, don't argue the facts. Obama, everybody knows Obama took us out one of the worst economic crises in history. He did. Now, when Trump got in office, he had to make sure that the momentum kept swinging. And what he did is he continued to drive the numbers down. It's almost like football. Just say you have a winning football coach, and that winning football coach retires. Just say, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm gonna use this example. Remember when well, what's the coach before Tomlin? I forgot his name. But the coach before Mike Tom, no. Let's use Tampa Bay. Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy had that Tampa Bay team looking good. He had them looking good. But when the other coach came in, he did what? He continued that winning streak and ended up winning the Super Bowl. Dungy didn't win it. Dungy left. But I forgot the other guy. He came in and he won it, but he had to continue to put the pieces of the puzzle. Obama put us in a whole bunch of debt. He didn't have enough. He didn't have a choice but to put us in debt. And to be honest, a lot of diehard conservatives are upset about the debt that Trump is putting us in. So I hear that too now because, like I said, I talk to a lot of people in the political world, especially, conservatives. A lot of Republicans will say that Trump his economic stances are not conservative. Mike Singletary. So a lot of conservatives will say Trump is not a fiscally conservative president. So that's an issue that I think that's probably one of the greatest issues that conservatives have with Trump, and that is the debt. Because since he's got in office, he's increased that debt like tenfold. David, like, yeah, there you go. David said a lot. Yes, Trump has driven that debt up. So we got to be honest too. But at the end of the day, there are certain things. That's why they're trying to cut back now because they've been doing a lot of spending. So my whole thing is, right, in order for Trump to be successful, people are going to have to hold him accountable. People are going to have to be able to have conversations that are frank, that are constructive behind closed doors, and people are going. His success is built on how we can hold them accountable. Even with Biden, Biden's success is going to be based upon how the people hold him accountable. Every politician, even on the local level, when you start looking at local politicians, our job is to not be cheerleaders. Our job is to make hold them accountable to what they say that they're going to do in their campaigns. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to push for. But until we've adopted the fortitude to do that, it's going to fail. Let's see what the brother said. Quality jobs for blacks. Where are they? None of the recent Republican presidents. Hold on, let me put that on the screen. Let's see. Quality jobs for blacks. Where are they? None of the recent Republican presidents had to operate in a Congress controlled by Democrats. All right. So let me tell you like this. Job, I would say a lot of economic development comes from the state. the state and the state really has more control over jobs than the federal government. Because if you let's look at what happened with AOC in New York. Amazon was going to bring in 25,000 jobs. And these weren't bad jobs, these were good jobs. But because of their local politicians, they stopped Amazon from bringing 25,000 jobs in New York. Same thing here in North Charleston. Boeing got an incentive, a tax incentive, to come and to create all of these jobs in North Charleston. So when you start looking at job creation, a lot of it comes in the state level. Remember, they just gave the Carolina Panthers a huge tax break. The state of South Carolina agreed to give them a huge tax break to bring in the training facility in Rock Hill, South Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's in Rock Hill. So they moved it from Charlotte to Rock Hill, and McMaster wheeled them in because of a tax break. So job development, job growth, a lot of times is spurred by the state government. Well, you can't take credit for job growth with the response that states controlling the job creation. Obama and Clinton had to operate in an environment where they had, well, Trump has opposition. Trump has opposition right now. For the last couple of years, he ain't had control over the House. He hasn't. He hasn't. But the thing is, what people are missing, right, is the fact that, and Obama said this a while back, and I think people missed his point, and people started calling him, well, he's not liberal, he's a moderate. Obama, if you remember, during the campaign season, he was kind of quiet, but there were times he'd come and he'd make a statement that basically implied that you're going to need a moderate Democrat to come and take the office of the president. He implied that several times, that you need a moderate. And a lot of the progressives got mad when he implied that you need a moderate. But what Obama was saying is, you are going to have to understand how to work across the aisle. You have to. He had to understand and find out quickly that you have to be able to work across the aisle in order to be able to get things done. In a perfect world, yeah, you're going to have control over the House and the Senate and all of that. In a perfect world, but it's not going to happen. So what has to happen is that you have to understand how to wheel and deal. You're going to have to understand how to let your particular party know that, at this point, this is all we're going to be able to get. There has to be some sort of concession. You have to be able to let the American people know, especially in your party, that we had to make a concession, because if we didn't, we would not be able to get A, B, C, D. So both sides are going to have somebody who's kind of moderate in a sense, because you can't get things done in government by being hyper partisan and super partisan. You're never going to be able to get things done. So being able to work across the aisle is a tactic that you have to learn and be able to employ at all times, because even when they do have full control over the House and the Senate, you still have party members who are going to be in tight races. So even if they are a Democrat, on certain issues, they're going to vote Republican because of the district that they're in. So they're going to still appease their constituents and maybe vote like Joe Cunningham. Joe Cunningham's voted with Republicans before, because he understands that, I'm going to be in a tight race. So I can't go and take I can't go and vote for the Green New Deal because my demographic that in my district is not gonna like that. So yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. Dave, yeah, man, I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to bed too. It's past my well, I ain't past my bedtime. I'm just chilling. So hey man, take it easy, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for listening. This is Brother Shakim. Peace. Ending the broadcast.